If you want to build face recognition based attendance and security systems in Android, or you want to learn the use of face recognition and face detection models in Android with both images and the live camera footage, then welcome to this course. In this course, you will learn to integrate face detection and recognition models in Android for building smart mobile applications. So during this course, we are going to build two different face recognition applications in Android from scratch. So firstly, we are going to build a face recognition and detection application where user can register and recognize faces using images. So in that application, user will be able to choose or capture images in Android, and then we are going to pass those images to face detection model to detect faces present in those images. And after that, we are going to crop detected faces and pass them to our face recognition model to register and recognize them. And for registering faces, we are going to use the local database of Android. And secondly, we are going to build a real-time face detection and recognition application, and in that application, user can register and recognize faces using the live camera footage. And during this course, we are not going to use any paid service for performing face recognition and detection, but instead we are going to use the popular models in a Tensorflow Lite format. And those models include the FaceNet model and mobile FaceNet model. And for performing face detection, we are going to use the powerful models of MLKit library. So after completing this course, you will be able to integrate face recognition and face detection models in Android with both images and the live camera footage. Similarly, you can add face recognition based authentication inside existing Android application. Apart from that, you can build face recognition based security and attendance systems in Android. So the complete course is about 5 hours long, and it includes all source code which we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion, which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just ask for a refund. And one important question is, who can take this course? So if you are a beginner Android developer or even an experienced Android professional, this course has something for you. So what are you waiting for? Join the course now and start building your own facial recognition systems in Android. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to learn about the working of a facial recognition system. So let's start. A facial recognition system can be divided into two main parts. The first part is face registration and the second part is face recognition. So as the name suggests, in face registration, we are registering faces inside our facial recognition system so that we can recognize them later. And in face recognition, we are going to recognize those registered faces. So it is similar to the facial recognition system of your mobile device. So there you firstly register a face and then later you can unlock your phone by using that registered face. And now let's understand the working of first part, which is face registration. So let's suppose that we got this Bill Gates image and we want to register his face inside our facial recognition system. So for that purpose, after taking this image, we are going to pass it to a facial detection model. So now a face detection model can detect the location of a face present in an image. So this model will gonna detect the location of Bill Gates' face, and using the information we can draw the rectangle around that face. And after that we can also crop the image and only get the portion where the face is present. So after getting this cropped face image, we are going to pass it to our face recognition model. So now this face recognition model will gonna generate the embedding for this face. So what is this embedding? So this embedding is actually a float array, and it is the numerical representation of this face image generated by this facial recognition model. So when we are going to pass this cropped face to our facial recognition model, it will gonna return us a float array representing this face. And this float array is called face embedding. So face embedding is a numerical representation of face image generated by face recognition model. And in face recognition, we generate and compare face embedding for faces to determine that whether they belong to same person or not. So if for two face images the embeddings are similar, then there are chances that both images belong to the same person. So that is a basic overview of embedding, that it is a float array representing that face. So after getting the embedding, we are going to show a dialog to the user, and there we will ask user to assign a name to this face. So let's say user will gonna assign the name Bill Gates, and he will gonna click on register button. And upon clicking on this button, we are going to store the name which user entered here and the embedding for this face inside our database. So inside our database, we got two columns, one with the name and the second one with the name embedding. So here in the name column, we are going to store the name which user assigned, and in the embedding column, we are going to store the embedding returned by our face recognition model. And by that way, our face will be registered. So when we say that we have registered a face inside our facial recognition system or inside our mobile device, basically we are storing the face embedding returned by the model. So the whole process of face registration can be divided into four main parts. So the first part is taking the image and passing it to our face detection model to detect faces. After that, based upon the result of face detection, crop the face from the original image. And then the third step is passing those crop faces to our facial recognition model to get the face embedding. And after that, for registering the face, we will ask user to assign a name to that face, and we are going to store that name along with this embedding in the database. And by that way, our face will be registered inside our facial recognition system. So hopefully this thing is now clear for you. And now the second part of our facial recognition system is face recognition. So the process of face recognition is similar to face registration, but there are only few differences at the end. So let's understand it. So after registering the face of Bill Gates, now if we are going to show some different image of Bill Gates to our facial recognition system, then it should recognize that image. So let's say we got this image and we are passing it to our facial recognition system. So again, after passing the image, firstly it will be passed to our facial detection model and we will get the location of the face. And after that, we are going to crop that face and pass it to our facial recognition model. And now this model will gonna generate the embedding. So everything till this point is similar to face registration. But after getting the embedding in face recognition, we are going to compare the embedding of this face with the embedding of registered faces. And then we are going to calculate the difference or the distance between two embeddings. So let's say the distance between the embedding of this face and the registered face of Ronaldo is 1.56, and the distance between the embedding of this face and the registered face of Bill Gates is 0.36. So now we can see the difference between two embeddings is minimum in case of this registered Bill Gates face. So now we can infer that this crop face is actually representing Bill Gates. Or in other words, we can now show the result that Bill Gates is present in the following image. So that's how face recognition is performed inside any facial recognition system. That after getting the embedding for the face, we are comparing it with the embedding of registered faces, and where the two embeddings are similar, we are considering that registered face as our recognition. So the whole process of face recognition can also be divided into four main parts. So the first step is taking the image and passing it to the face detection model to detect faces. And after that, based upon the results, we are cropping the face. And then in the third step, we are passing that crop face to our facial recognition model and getting the embedding. And after that, in the fourth step, we are comparing the embedding of the face with the embedding of registered faces. And where the distance between two embedding is minimum, that registered face will be our recognition. So the whole process of facial recognition system can be represented with the help of this image. That in the system, when we are passing an image, firstly it will be passed through the detection model and we are going to crop the face. After that, that crop face will be passed to our facial recognition model and we will get the embedding. And after that, if we are registering the face, then we are showing a dialog and taking the name from the user. And when the user will gonna type the name, we are going to store the name and the embedding in the database and our face will be registered. And if we are recognizing it, then we are comparing this embedding with the embedding of registered faces. And where the difference or the distance between two embedding is minimum, we are considering that registered face as our prediction. So hopefully you got the idea about the working of a facial recognition system. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this course is just first few hours of my complete face recognition and detection in Android, the 2024 guide course. The complete course is about 5 hours long and it includes all source code which we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below and I am offering a discount to first 100 students. So enroll now before it's too late. Now let's continue to the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to start building our image picker application in Android. So basically, you will learn to choose images from gallery or capture images using camera inside an Android application. And we are learning this thing so that later we can use these images with our machine learning models and build smart applications. And in our case, later we are going to build our face recognition with images application. So in that application, user will be able to choose images from gallery or capture images using camera. And then we are going to pass those images to our face recognition models and get the recognitions. So that's why it's important to learn that how we can choose or capture images inside an Android application. So let's begin. So the first step is creating a new Android Studio project. So open your Android Studio and click on this new project button. And if you are using the latest Android Studio version, then you need to choose this empty views activity. And if you are using older version, then you might see the option of empty activity instead of this empty views activity. So you need to select it. After that, click next. And then here you need to assign a name to your application. Like we will name it image picker. After that, you can select your project location and then you can select the Java as the language. And after that, you will be able to see this drop down in the bottom. So if you are using older versions, then you will not see this drop down, so you can just leave it. But if you are using the new versions and you are able to see this drop down, then select this last option, this groovy DSL build.gradle. After that, click finish and our project will be created. So now the project is created successfully and the Gradle is built. So we got our main activity here, so you can see this main activity.java and this activity main.xml. So it is containing the GUI of this application. And for now we just got this text view here. But now we are going to add some views inside this activity main and build the GUI of our application. So let's firstly remove this text view. So right click and click on this delete. And after that, we are going to add an image view inside this constraint layout. And the reason is we want to choose images from gallery or capture images using camera. And after choosing or capturing the image, we need to display it, and for that purpose we are going to use an image view. So just select this image view and paste it here. And after that you need to choose some image, so I'm gonna select this one, but you can choose some different one. So here you can see the image view is added. So for this image view, just set the top constraint and the left and the right constraint. After that, we need to add some buttons inside our application, and by clicking on these buttons, the gallery or the camera will be opened. So we are going to add two buttons here. So let's drag this button and paste it inside our constraint layout. So there you can see this button. So just set the bottom constraint and put it at the bottom. Similarly, let's set the left constraint for this first button. After that, we are going to add another button. So just paste it here inside constraint layout and set the bottom constraint for it as well and the right constraint. So there you can see we got these two buttons and this image view. So now let's change the text of these buttons. So for this left button, we are going to set the text to gallery because we want the user to click on this button when he wants to choose image from gallery. So change this button to gallery. And secondly, for this button, we are going to change text to camera because we want to open the camera when this button will be clicked. So there you can see we have changed the text for these buttons, and now let's add some formatting. So just select both of these buttons and right click, and there you can see this option for chains. So you can see this create horizontal chain option. So just click on it and our buttons will be spaced equally on the horizontal axis. So there you can see now they are equally spaced. Similarly, for our image view, let's set the bottom constraint and set it to the top of our button. So now by setting this constraint, this image view will always be above these buttons. So after doing that, let's add the bottom margin for these buttons because they are in the bottom of screen. So I'm gonna add the bottom margin to 60. So just click on this button and here you can select the margin. Similarly, we can select it for the right button as well. And now you can see the position of both of these buttons are changed. After that, let's choose the height for our image view as well. So I'm gonna choose the height to match constraint, and same is the case with the width. And now our application is looking a lot more better. So we added this image view and these two buttons here. So when the user will gonna click on this gallery button, we want to open the gallery so that user can choose an image. And same is the case with the camera button, that when the user will gonna click on it, we want to launch the camera so that user can capture an image using camera. And once he will gonna choose or capture the image, we want to display the image inside this image view. So after completing the GUI of this application, let's move to our main activity where we are going to add the code to choose or capture the images. So there you can see we got our main activity.java, and here let's firstly declare our image view and buttons. So firstly I'm gonna declare an image view. So image view, and let's name it image view as well. After that, let's declare both of these buttons. So button, and firstly we are gonna create our gallery button, so gallery btn. And secondly we are gonna create our camera button, so camera btn. So after declaring them, let's initialize these views inside our own create method. So firstly our image view, so image view equal to find view by id, and then we need to specify the id of our image view, and that id is image view. So add a semicolon, and now initialize both of these buttons. So firstly this gallery button, so find view by id, and choose the id for this button, and that id is button. And secondly, for our camera button. So camera button, so select the ID, and the ID for that button is button 2. And that's it. So now we have declared these views and initialized them inside our own create method. And the next step is setting the listeners on these buttons so that when the user will gonna click on this gallery button, we will open the gallery and he can choose an image from it. And the same thing is for this camera button, but when the user will gonna click on it, the camera will be opened. So let's set the listener for both of these buttons. So gallery button dot set on click listener, and here specify this new on click listener, and we need to repeat the same for our camera button, so just copy it and paste it below. And here change this gallery button to camera btn, and that's it. So now inside this on click we are going to write the code to choose image from gallery, and inside this on click we are gonna write the code to capture the image using camera. And we are going to do that inside our next lecture. So see you in the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. As inside our previous lectures, we created our new Android Studio project and we have created the GUI of our application. And now it's time to add the code to choose or capture images inside our Android application. And to do that, we are going to use a medium story, and that medium story is written by me. So open the course resources folder, and here you will find these 3 folders. So just go to this image picker folder and you will find this text document, and when you will open it you will find a link, and that is the link of medium story written by me. So just copy this link and open your browser, and here you need to paste the link and press enter, and this story will be opened. And you can also find this story in the PDF format inside our course resources. So I'm gonna add it and you can just open that PDF as well. So there you can see this story is opened, and here I am explaining the process of choosing or capturing images inside Android. But we are going to build this application. So here when you are going to scroll down, you can firstly see the first instruction is creating a new Android Studio project, and we have already done that. And secondly, we need to create our application GUI, and we have done that as well. After that, we need to declare and initialize our views, and we also completed that part. And the next section is choosing images from gallery, and that is the thing we are interested in. So there you can see this block is containing the code where we have set the on click listener to our gallery button, and now inside this on click we have got the code to open the gallery so that user can choose an image. So there you can see these 2 lines. So just copy these 2 lines, and I'm gonna explain their purpose in a moment. So just copy them and open your Android Studio. And here inside this gallery button dot set on click listener, we need to paste these 2 lines. So just paste them here. And now you can see these errors. So let's add the import for this intent, and the error will be gone. So there you can see this error is gone, and same is the case with this media store. So now you can see most of the errors are gone, but we got this error for gallery activity result launcher, and I will explain in a moment. So firstly we are creating this intent, and there we are specifying the action to action pick, and the reason is we want to pick or choose images from gallery, so we are setting this action to action pick. After that we are specifying the media type which we want to choose. So as we want to pick images, so I specified this images here. So here after specifying the action and type, our intent will be created. And the next step is launching this intent, and when this intent will be launched, the gallery will be opened. And to launch this intent, we are using an activity result launcher object. As previously in Android, we can simply launch an intent by calling startActivityForResult method. But starting from Android X, we got some updates and that method is depreciated. So now in order to launch the intent, we need to create an object of type ActivityResultLauncher, and then by using it, we can launch the intent and choose the images. So open the story again and there you will find this code. So here we are creating and initializing our activity result launcher. So just copy the code and we need to paste this code inside our main activity above this onCreate method. So here above the declaration of our views, let's paste this code. So I'm gonna paste it here, and after that let's add the imports and the errors will be gone. So add the import for this activity result contracts as well, and similarly for this activity result. After that add the import for this activity result callback and all the errors are gone. So there you can see, firstly we are creating this activity result launcher object, and after that we are initializing it by calling this register for activity result method, and inside it we are specifying an object of type start activity for result, and the second thing is a callback. So now this callback will be executed once user will gonna choose or capture the image. So by using this gallery activity result launcher, we are launching this particular intent, and as a result the gallery will be opened, and once user will gonna choose an image from gallery, this onActivityResult method will be called, and inside this method we can get the data of the image that user have selected. So hopefully you got the idea that we are creating this intent to launch the gallery, and we are launching this intent using our activity result launcher, and we have declared and initialized this activity result launcher here. So now when the gallery will be opened and user will gonna select an image, this onActivityResult method of this gallery activity result launcher will be called, and inside it by using this activity result method we can get the URI of the image that user have selected. So here inside this method we can write the code to get the URI of the image that user have selected, and to do that we are gonna use this result variable. So result, and then we can add a dot, and you can see this method get data, and it will gonna return an intent, and after that we can call this get data function again, and it will gonna return the URI of the image that user have selected. So just call this method and add a semicolon. After that let's initialize a URI variable and name it image underscore URI. So now add the import for this URI and the error will be gone. So now we are getting the URI of the image that user have selected and storing it inside this image URI variable. And the next step is showing this image inside our image view. So we are gonna use this image view. So image view, and we are gonna call its method set image URI. So you can see this method, and here we are gonna pass this image underscore URI. So I'm gonna paste it here, and that's it. So now when you are going to run this application and you are going to click on this gallery button, the gallery will be opened and you can choose an image from gallery. And once you are going to choose an image, this onActivityResult method will be called, and here we are getting that image URI and displaying it inside our image view. So you will see the image that you have just selected inside this image view. So let's install this application inside our emulator and test it. And after that we are going to add the code to capture images using camera inside our Android application. So I am going to launch this application inside an emulator. So go to this device manager, and here you can create a virtual device if you don't have one created earlier. So I got this device here, Pixel 5, so I'm gonna launch it, and then I'm gonna install the application inside it. So there you can see my emulator. Now I'm gonna select it here, so Pixel 5, and click on this run button. So our application will be installed inside the simulator in a moment. So now our application is installed inside the simulator and we got these two buttons here. We also got this image view here, but it is not displaying anything. So let's choose an image from gallery and see whether we are able to see that image inside our image view or not. So I'm gonna click on this gallery button. And you can see the emulator gallery is opened, and here you will be able to see different folders. So I'm gonna go inside this download folder and select this image, and there you can see the image that I have selected is being displayed inside our application inside this image view. So our application is working correctly and we are able to choose images from gallery inside our Android application. And we have done that by simply using this intent. So we created this intent and then with the help of this activity result launcher, we are launching it. And inside this activity result we have specified this callback. So once user will gonna select the image, this own activity result will be called, and here we are getting the image URI and displaying it inside this image view. So hopefully you got the idea that how you can choose images from gallery inside our Android application. Welcome to this lecture. As inside our previous lecture, we have learned that how we can choose images from gallery inside our Android application. And the next step is capturing images using camera inside this application. And to do that, we need to add the code inside this onClick listener for camera button. So open the medium story again, and here when you are going to scroll down, you can see this section capturing images using camera. And inside it, the first section is about permissions. So in Android, when we want to capture an image using camera, we need two permissions. Firstly, we need the camera permission so that we can access the camera. And the second permission is about storage so that we can store the image that we have captured using the camera. So we need to add these two permissions inside our Android manifest. So just copy them and open your Android Studio. And here in the side pane you can see this manifest folder. And there we got our Android manifest.xml. So here above this application tag, we need to paste these permissions. So we are asking for these two permissions, this external storage permission and this camera permission. So we need this camera permission so that we can access the camera. And we need this right external storage so that we can store the image that we have just captured. So after declaring these permissions here, we also need to ask for these permissions dynamically inside our application code. And to do that, you need to copy this code and paste it inside our own create method. So open our main activity.java, and above this gallery btn.set onClick listener, we are gonna paste these lines. And here we need to add the import. So add the import for this build. Similarly for this manifest, and finally for this package manager. And that's it. So here you can see we are firstly checking if the Android SDK version is greater than equal to M. So if that's the case, then we need to ask for these permissions dynamically. Otherwise these permissions will be automatically granted because we have declared them inside our Android manifest. So after checking that, we are checking if the camera permission is denied or the external storage permission is denied. So if either of these permissions is denied, then we are asking for these permissions. So there you can see we are creating this strings array name permission and specifying the camera permission and the right external storage permission. And then with the help of this request permission function, we are asking for these permissions dynamically. So when this code will be executed, if the camera and external storage permission is not granted, you will see a dialog for permission inside your application screen. So after specifying the permissions, the next step is The next step is launching an intent to open the camera. And to do that, open the story again. And here when you will scroll down, you can see the code which is present inside this onClick listener for camera BTN. So when the user will gonna click on this camera BTN, this code will be executed. So we are going to copy this code and then we are going to take a look. So just select the code starting from this if till this else and be careful while copying. So just copy this code and paste it inside this onClick method for this camera BTN. So inside it I'm gonna paste it. And now you can see when the user will gonna click on the camera button, this code will be executed. And here again, firstly we are verifying that the permission for the camera or the external storage permission is granted or not. So if these permissions are not granted, then again we are asking for these permissions. And if these permissions are granted, then we are calling a method named openCamera. So this is the method we are gonna add inside our application, and inside this method we are using an intent to launch the camera. So we will add it in a moment. But here you can again see if the SDK version is greater than equal to M, only in that case we are checking for these permissions dynamically. Otherwise, if the SDK version is less than M, so in that case these permissions will be automatically granted and we are simply calling this openCamera method. So now open the story again so that we can add this method. So when you are going to scroll down, you can see this block of code. So just copy it and paste it inside our application and then we are going to look at it. So I'm gonna paste it below our own create method. So here I'm gonna paste it and there you can see these errors. So just click on this content values and add the import and the error is gone. So there you can see we have added this openCamera method inside our application. And inside this method we are creating this intent named camera intent, and there we are specifying the action to action image capture. And we have specified it because we want to capture the image using camera. After that we are setting an extra and we are passing this image URI here. So we declared this image URI variable, and inside this image URI variable the URI of the captured image will be stored. So we declared it here. Then inside our openCamera method, using our content resolver, we are ensuring that when the user will gonna capture the image, the URI of the image will be assigned to this underscore image URI variable. So after creating this intent and setting this extra, we are launching it using this camera activity result launcher. So this is again an object of type activity result launcher, but this time we have declared it here. So you can see this activity result launcher here and we have named it camera activity result launcher. And again we have specified this start activity for result and this callback. So now when this intent will be launched and the user will gonna capture the image, this own activity result method of this camera activity result launcher will be called. And inside this method we can check if the user have successfully captured an image or not. And if he has captured the image, then we can show the image inside our image view. So now let's quickly repeat few things. So we have set an onClick listener on our camera button, and here when the user will gonna click on it, this code will be executed. And if the camera and the storage permissions are granted, this openCamera method will be called. And inside this method we are creating and launching this intent, and this intent is for capturing the image. So when this intent will be launched, the camera will be opened and user can capture the image. And once he will gonna capture the image, this own activity result method of our activity result launcher will be called. And now here we need to add the code to display the captured image. And to do that we need to simply display the image inside our image view variable. But before that we need to add one more thing, and that is ensuring that user have captured the image or not. And we can ensure it using this result variable. So if this result dot get result code is equal to success, so only in that case we are going to display the image. Because if by using this intent the camera is launched but the user did not capture any image and he has just clicked on the back button, in that case this underscore image variable will be null and we will get an error. So here we need to make sure that user have captured an image. So here we are checking if this result dot get result code is equal to result OK. So that is the code which will be returned when the user will gonna capture the image. So here select it and add the braces. So if the result code is equal to result OK, in that case we are gonna use our image view and we are gonna display the image by calling this set image URI. So here I am going to pass this image underscore URI and that's it. So now when you are going to run this application and you are going to click on this camera button, you will see the camera will be opened and you can capture an image. And once you are going to capture the image, this own activity result will be called, and here we are ensuring that user have captured an image, and in that case we are displaying this image inside our image view. So I am going to install this application inside our emulator again, and then we are going to test it. So now our application is installed again, and this time you can see firstly it is asking for the permission to take pictures and record video, and we are seeing this message because we have asked for the camera permission. So we are dynamically asking it with the help of this code. So here user can grant the permission, so I'm gonna allow it. And secondly, it is asking for the permission to access photos and media on your device, and that is because of our external storage permission, so allow it as well. After that, let's click on this camera button and you can see the emulator camera is launched, and that is the default preview for emulator camera. And if you are running this application on your real device, you will see that your real device camera will be launched. So let's capture an image by clicking on this button, and let's click on the stick button. And now you can see the image that we captured is being displayed here. So our application is working correctly and we are able to choose or capture images inside our Android application. Welcome to this lecture. As previously we have completed this application, and in this application we can choose an image from gallery or capture an image using camera. And now the next step is converting that chosen or captured image in a bitmap format. And we are converting this image in a bitmap format because later we want to use it with our machine learning model, and in our case we want to perform facial recognition. So that's why we are learning to convert that image in a bitmap format. And to do that, open the story again, and here when you are going to scroll down, you can see this section converting image into bitmap, and there you will find this method URI to bitmap. So just copy all the code which is present inside this section, and after that we are gonna open our project and paste it below at the end of our activity main.xml. So just before this closing brace, paste the code, and now let's look at it. So firstly you can see we got a lot of errors, and these are because of the imports. So let's add the imports. So now I have added all the imports and you can see the error is gone. So we pasted two methods inside our application. Firstly this URI to bitmap, and this method is taking the URI of the image and it is returning that image in a bitmap format. And secondly we have pasted this rotate bitmap method, and inside this method we are passing a bitmap as a parameter, and this method is also returning a bitmap. So what is the purpose of these methods? So it's obvious that this URI to bitmap method is converting the image in a bitmap format. So we need to supply our image URI and we will get that image in a bitmap format. But what is the purpose of this rotate bitmap function? So when we capture an image inside our Android application, For most phone cameras, the image that we will get is rotated to the left or right by 90 degree. So the image is not in a portrait mode. And the reason is most phone cameras are landscape. Meaning if you take a picture in portrait mode, the resulting image will be rotated left or right by 90 degree. So here this rotate bitmap method comes into play. So we are going to supply a bitmap as a parameter, and this method will gonna check if the image is in a portrait mode or it is rotated to the left or right by 90 degree. If that's the case, it will gonna remove that rotation and we will get our image in a portrait mode. And it is very essential for us to get that image in a portrait mode so that later we can pass it to our machine learning models. So that is the purpose of this rotate bitmap function. So now let's use these functions and get our image in a bitmap format. So firstly we are going to add the code inside this own activity result for this camera activity result launcher. So here inside this if block, we are firstly converting our image into a bitmap format. So we are going to call this URI to bitmap method and pass our image URI. As in our case, this image URI is stored inside this image underscore URI, so we are passing it here. So now this method will gonna return an image in a bitmap format. So declare a bitmap variable and name it input, and after that add an equal sign. So now this method will gonna take this image URI and return the image in a bitmap format. After that, let's call this rotate bitmap function and pass this input bitmap here. So I'm gonna pass this input here. Now this method will gonna check if this image is rotated left or right by 90 degree or not. And if it is rotated, then it will gonna correct it. So again we are going to assign it to this input variable. And that's it. So now after getting the image, the next thing is displaying this bitmap inside our image view. So now here instead of this set image URI, we are going to call this set image bitmap function. And we are going to specify this input bitmap here. And that's it. So now when you are going to run this application and you are going to capture an image, then that image will be displayed inside our image view, but this time this image will be in a bitmap format. So there is no visual difference, but in future we are going to use this bitmap and pass it to our machine learning model. And we need to do the same for choosing images from gallery. So just copy these lines and move above. And here we need to paste this code here. So just remove this line and paste the code. So there you can see we are getting the URI of the image that user selected. After that we are converting it into a bitmap format, and then we are checking and removing the rotation. And finally we are displaying this image inside our image view. And now here we need to remove this declaration for our image URI variable. And there is a specific reason for it. So let's remove this URI from here. And the reason is we are already declaring it here. So you can see this image underscore URI. And we are using it inside our rotate bitmap function to get the orientation for the image. So you can see we are using it here. So if we did not remove this declaration from here, so in that case a separate variable will be created here, and in case of choosing the images, this image underscore URI will be null. And here we will get an error because inside this function we are using this image underscore URI. So now when you are going to run this application, you will not get any error. And the reason is once user will gonna choose the image, we are getting the image URI and assigning it to our image underscore URI variable. After that we are converting this image into a bitmap format using this method, and then we are calling this rotate bitmap function to check for rotation and remove it. And inside this function this image underscore URI will be used. And here we are getting our final bitmap and displaying it inside our image view. So now let's run the application again inside the simulator and test it. So now our application is installed again. So let's firstly choose an image from gallery. So I'm gonna choose the same image. And there you can see our image is being displayed, but this time it is in a bitmap format. And same is the case for camera. So let's capture an image. So there you can see our captured image is also being displayed. And when you are gonna comment this line, this rotate bitmap function line, and you are going to install this application inside your real device, then mostly when you are going to choose an image which is from the camera, you will see that that image is rotated. So to remove that rotation, we are using this function. So hopefully you got the idea that how we can choose or capture images inside our Android application, and then how we can convert it into a bitmap format and display it. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this course is just first few hours of my complete face recognition and detection in Android, the 2024 guide course. The complete course is about 5 hours long and it includes all source code which we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below and I am offering a discount to first 100 students. So enroll now before it's too late. Now let's continue to the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. As previously we have completed our image picker application, and in this application user can choose an image from gallery or capture it using camera. And in this lecture we will quickly review the process that how we have built it. So firstly we have created a new Android Studio project and we have selected the Java as a language. And once this project is created, we got our activity main.xml and this main activity.java. So inside our XML file, we added this image view and these two buttons. And then inside our main activity, we have declared these views. So you can see this declaration. After that, we have initialized them. And then we have added the code to choose or capture images. So to choose an image, we have set an onClick listener to this gallery button. And here we are launching an intent to open the gallery so that user can choose an image. And we are launching this intent using this activity result launcher object. So here once this intent will be launched and the user have selected an image from gallery, this own activity result will be called. And here we are getting that image URI, converting it into a bitmap format and then displaying it inside our image view. And the second thing was capturing an image using camera. And for that purpose, firstly we are asking for these permissions, this camera permission and the external storage permission. And we have declared these permissions inside our Android manifest file as well. So after asking for the permissions, we are setting an onClick listener on our camera button. So inside this listener, we are checking if the permission is granted or not. So if the permissions are granted, we are calling this open camera function. And inside it, by using this intent, we are launching the camera. So we have created this intent and then we are launching it using this camera activity result launcher. So we have declared and initialized it here. So once this intent will be launched, the camera will be opened, and once user will gonna capture the image, this own activity result will be called. And inside this method, we are getting the URI of the image and converting it into a bitmap format. After that, we are checking and removing the rotation and finally displaying this bitmap inside our image view. So in both cases, the image that we have selected or captured will be displayed inside this image view. So that's how you can choose or capture the images inside your Android application. Welcome to Face Recognition with Images section of this course. In this section, we will build a fully functional face recognition application in Android. And in that application, we are going to perform face recognition and face detection with images from both gallery and camera. So the whole process of building this application can be divided into these steps. So firstly, you will learn to choose or capture images in Android. And after that, we are going to pass those images to face detection model and get the detected faces. And then we are going to crop those detected faces from the original images. And after that, we are going to pass those crop faces to our face recognition models and get the embedding. After that, for face registration, we are going to show a dialog where user will gonna enter the name and register the face. And for face recognition, we are going to compare the embedding of current face with the embedding of registered faces. And where the distance or the difference between two embedding is minimum, we are returning that registered face as our recognition. And inside this application for registering faces, we are going to use the local database of Android, which is SQLite. And during this section, we are going to perform face recognition in Android using two different face recognition models. And those models include the FaceNet model and mobile FaceNet model. As during this section, we are going to integrate face recognition in Android and build a very exciting application. So let's begin. Welcome to this lecture. As previously, we have learned to choose images from gallery or capture images using camera inside our Android application. And now it's time to perform face recognition using the image that user will gonna choose or capture. So for that purpose, the first step is getting this starter application code from GitHub. So this is the application code which is quite similar to the application that we completed earlier. But we have just made few changes in the GUI and created two extra activities. So open your browser and type this URL, or you can also take this URL from project resources. So once this repository page is opened, click on this code button and copy this repository link. Then open your Android Studio and here click on this get from version control. Now paste the link here and click clone, and our project will be cloned in a moment. So now our application is imported successfully. So let's firstly run this starter application inside an emulator and see what does this starter application contain. And after that we are going to add the code to perform face recognition. So I am going to launch this application inside my emulator. So now the application is installed inside my emulator, and that is the layout of this application. So you can firstly see this image here, and below that we got these two buttons. Firstly this button with the text register, and secondly with the recognize. So for facial recognition, firstly we need to register our face, and after that we need to perform the recognition. So here by clicking on this register button, a new screen will be opened, and here again we got this image view, and below that we got these two circles. So here in this first circle where we got this image icon, when the user will gonna click on it, the gallery will be opened and he can choose an image from gallery, and that image will be displayed inside this application. And secondly, when the user will gonna click on this camera icon, then the camera will be launched and he can capture an image using camera. And then that captured image will be displayed inside the screen. So this is working exactly like our previous application, and user can just choose or capture the images inside our application. And we have just changed the layout of this application. Similarly, go back, and now when the user will gonna click on this recognize button, again a similar screen will be opened, and here user can choose or capture the images again. And apart from that, we did not added any code inside the starter application. So this is our starter application, and here we have just created two extra screens, and on those screens user can just choose or capture the images. But for this register screen, when the user will gonna choose or capture the image, we need to register or save the face for the image that user just selected, and we are going to save it so that later when the user will gonna recognize the face, we can compare the face with the face that user want to recognize, and if the face that user is trying to recognize matches with this current frame, we can show the information for it. So now in this application, we want to perform face recognition, and for that purpose, firstly user need to register some faces which he can recognize later. And to do that, he need to click on this register button and this screen will be opened. And here he can either choose an image from gallery or capture it using camera. And once he will gonna choose or capture the image, we need to get the face present in the image and we need to store it along with the information. So once he will gonna choose or capture the image, we are going to detect the face present in this image, and then we are going to ask the user for the name of that particular face. Like if he is selecting the picture of Obama, then we are going to show a dialog and we are going to ask that what is the name for this particular entry. Then the user will gonna add the name like Obama, and then he will gonna click on the register button. And once he will gonna register it, we are going to store that face along with the name Obama inside our database. So by that way a face will be registered. Similarly, he can again choose or capture an image, and then we are going to detect the face present inside that image and we are going to ask for the name, and then we are also going to store it inside our database. So that's how the faces will be registered. And after registering the faces, when he will gonna click on this recognize button and choose or capture the image, then we are going to check if the face present in the image that he just selected or captured matches with the face that we already got in the database. And of course, we are going to compare these faces using our machine learning models. So we are going to use our FaceNet and mobile FaceNet model to compare the face of person that he just selected with already present faces inside our database. And if any face matches with this face, we are going to show the information like this person is Obama or some other entry present inside our database. So that's how this application will gonna work. So hopefully you got the idea about the flow of this application, that user can register the faces or he can recognize the faces by going into the respective screens. And now after looking at this application flow, let's quickly look at this application code. So expand this app folder and go to this Java, and here expand this com, and there you can see three different activities. Firstly, we got this main activity.xml, and this main activity is showing this layout. So here when you are going to expand this res and go to layout, you can see this activity main.xml. And inside it you can see we are displaying this image view which is displaying this person image, and then we got these two buttons, and inside our main activity we are initializing these buttons and setting on click listener on them. So when the user will gonna click on this register button, we are opening this register activity, and when he will gonna click on this recognize button, we are opening this recognition activity. And inside this register activity we got the code to choose or capture the image similar to the code that we completed earlier. So here you can see this activity register.xml. So there we got this image view, and below that we got these two card views. And the first card view is displaying this image icon and the second one is displaying this camera icon. And inside our register activity.java, you can see we are initializing these views, and when the user will gonna click on this gallery card, we are launching the gallery using this intent. So there you can see we are creating this intent to pick images from gallery, and then we are launching it using our gallery activity result launcher. And once this intent will be launched, the gallery will be opened and user can choose an image. And once he will gonna choose the image, this own activity result will be called. And here we are getting the image URI, converting it into a bitmap format, checking and removing the rotation, and displaying the image inside our image view. And same is the case for camera, that we are setting an on-click listener on our camera card, and once user will gonna click on it, this code will be executed. So if the camera and the storage permissions are granted, we are calling this open camera method, and inside it, using an intent, we are launching the camera. So there you can see we are creating this intent object, and then we are launching this intent using this camera activity result launcher. And once user will gonna capture the image, this own activity result for this camera activity result launcher will be called. And here again we are converting the image into bitmap format, checking and removing the rotation and displaying the image that user have just captured. So the code is exactly same that we completed earlier, that we are just choosing or capturing images inside our Android application and converting them into a bitmap format. And same is the case with this recognition activity, that we got the same code here, which is for choosing or capturing the image. We have just changed the layout of the application a little bit and created this flow that the user will gonna move from this main activity to this recognition or register activity. So that is our starter application code, and inside our next lecture we are going to start the process of recognizing faces. So see you in the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. As previously we have imported the starter application and we have looked at the flow of this application. Apart from that, we have quickly covered the code, and the main thing is inside this application we are choosing or capturing images inside Android. And now we are going to start the process of facial recognition. So as in this application, firstly user need to register the faces so that later he can recognize them. And for that purpose, he need to go to this register screen. So he will gonna click on this register button and this screen will be opened. And here he can choose or capture the image. So once he will gonna choose or capture the image will be displayed here. And after that we need to detect the faces present in the image that he selected or captured. And after getting those faces we need to store them so that later we can use those faces for comparison with the face that user want to recognize. So hopefully you got my point, that we need to firstly register the faces so that later we can recognize them. So in this lecture, firstly we are going to add the code inside this register activity to detect the faces in the image that user will gonna select or choose. So basically we are going to perform face detection inside this lecture. So basically we are going to perform face detection inside this lecture, and in face detection we don't recognize faces, we just detect faces like where in the picture a face is present. So now when the user will gonna choose the image like this image, our goal is to select or crop the portion in this image where this face is present, so that later we can use this face for comparison with the face user want to recognize. So hopefully you got my point. So we are going to perform face detection inside our Android application in this lecture. And to do that we are going to use the face detection feature of our Firebase MLKit library. So open your browser and here go to Google, and now you need to type face detection MLKit. So type it and press enter. So in the search result you will see this first link, face detection MLKit Google developers. So just click on it and the documentation page for face detection feature of MLKit library will be opened. And here you can see the detail for this API along with the features. So by using this library, we can detect the location of faces present in pictures. Like you can see this example image. So we are getting this red rectangle which is locating the location of this face. Apart from that, we can get the location of different facial landmarks like eyes, lips, mouth, nose, eyebrows, and so on. Similarly, you can read about the features of this library by reading this documentation. So there you can see we can recognize and locate the facial features like eyes, ears, cheeks, nose, mouth, and so on. Similarly, we can get the facial contours, and the contours mean these white dots which are forming the location of different facial landmarks. Like you can see these white dots around the left eye, so these are called facial contours. Similarly, you can get the facial expressions, like you can check if a person is smiling or not, or his eyes are open or closed. Apart from that, we can track faces and use this library with the live camera footage as well. So after looking at the documentation for this face detection feature, we need to click on this Android button so that we can see the instructions for Android to use this library for detecting faces. And there you can see these instructions. So when you are going to scroll down, you will see the steps. And the first step is inside our project level build.gradle file, we need to add Google Memo repository. And in case of our starter application, this requirement is already fulfilled. So when you are going to open the project and here you are going to click on this build.gradle file, you will see the code similar to this one. But if you are using some older version, then you will see these sections, this all project and build script section. And inside it, you need to make sure the Google Memo repository is present. After that, the second step is adding the dependency for using MLKit library inside our app level build.gradle file. So we need to add the dependency for using this library. And here we got two options. Firstly, if we want to include or bundle the model inside our application, then we need to use this dependency. And if we don't want to bundle or include the model inside our application APK, so in that case we need to use this dependency. So we are going to use this dependency because we want to bundle the model with our application. So I'm gonna copy it and we need to paste it inside our app level build.gradle file. So open this build.gradle file for the module, and here in the dependency section I'm gonna paste this dependency. Now click on this sync now button and this library will be downloaded and added inside our Android project. So there you can see the syncing is completed successfully. After that, open the documentation page again, and here you can see the third step is if you choose to use the model in Google Play services, you can configure your app to automatically download the model to the device after your app is installed from Play Store. So here, if you have chosen this option, and this option is mentioning that the model will not be included inside your application APK, but when the user will gonna download the app, the model will be downloaded from Google Play services. So if you have selected this option, then you need to add this metadata tag inside your Android manifest file. As we have selected this option, so we don't need to add this step. But if you have selected this option, then you need to copy this tag and you need to paste it inside our Android manifest file. So here inside our application tag, you need to paste this code. After that, open the documentation page and read the next instructions. So after completing these three steps, the next thing is about creating our face detector and using it. So scroll down and here you will see this configure the face detector. So as I mentioned that this library provides a number of features. So we can select that which feature we want to use by creating an object of type face detector options. So there you can see this block. So select the language to Java, and now you can see we are creating an object of type face detector options. And by using these options, you can enable or disable different features of this library. So there you can see we are creating two objects here. Firstly, if you want to get the high accuracy, then you need to set these options. And if you want to use this model or this library with the live camera footage, then you should use these features. As we want to use it with the images, so we are going to copy this code and we are going to paste it inside our application. And by using this code, we are choosing several different features of this library, and we are going to take a look in a moment. But for now, just copy this code and open our application. And inside our register activity, we need to paste the code in this section, declare face detector. So I'm gonna paste it here. And now you will see several errors. And the reason is we did not added the imports. So here let's firstly add the import for face detector options. And there you can see all the errors are gone. So we are creating this face detector option variable, and then we are choosing certain things. Firstly, we are selecting the performance mode and we are choosing the mode to accurate. And the reason is we are using it with images, so we want the accurate result. But if we are using it with the live camera footage, then we need fast result to keep up with the speed of live camera footage. But now we are choosing images one by one, so time is not an issue and we want accurate results. And secondly, we are choosing the landmark mode. So apart from detecting the location of face, if we want to detect different facial landmarks, like we want to detect the location of eyes, mouth, eyebrows, cheeks, nose and so on, then you can enable this mode. Otherwise, you can disable it by choosing landmark mode none. So I'm gonna choose this landmark mode none here. After that, you can choose the classification. So by classification, you mean if you want to detect facial expressions or not. So here we have selected classification mode all, but we should use classification mode none because we are only interested in location of face. So let's disable it as well. So now we have created and initialized our face detector options, and the next thing is creating our face detector. And to do that, open the documentation page and scroll down. So we need to go to our third section, which is creating an instance of face detector. So we need to copy this line, and here we are actually creating an object of type face detector. So after copying it, open the project again, and below these options, let's paste it. And there you can see the errors, so let's add the import firstly for this face detector, after that for this face detection. So now the error is gone. So we are creating an object of type face detector using this face detection.getClient function. And here we need to specify these face detector options. So we are going to pass these high accuracy opts here. So now when this code will be executed, our face detection model will be initialized and we can use the features that we specified here. So we have disabled the landmark detection and classification, and we have choose the performance mode to accurate, which means that our results will be much more accurate. So now we have initialized our face detector, but the actual place for initializing this face detector will be inside our own create method. So here select this line starting from here till here and copy it. After that, add a semicolon here and remove it. So basically we are declaring our face detector here, and we are going to initialize it inside our own create method. So there you can see this section, initialize face detector. So here we are going to paste the line. So now our face detector will be initialized here, and we are passing our face detector options here. So now we can use this detector to recognize the faces present in images or video. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this course is just first few hours of my complete face recognition and detection in Android, the 2024 guide course. The complete course is about 5 hours long and it includes all source code which we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below and I am offering a discount to first 100 students. So enroll now before it's too late. Now let's continue to the next lecture. So now we can use this detector to recognize the faces present in images or video. And to do that, open the documentation page again. And here we need to go to the second section, which is preparing the input image. As in our case, user is selecting the image from gallery or capturing it using camera. After that, we are converting that image into a bitmap format. And now we want to pass that image to our face detector to get the result. But we cannot pass that image directly. Firstly, we need to convert that image into a format called input image. So here you can see this second section, prepare the input image. And here you will find several different options. Like you will find this option using a bitmap. So we can create an object of type input image using a bitmap. So just click on this using a bitmap and you can see this instruction. So here you can see by using this input image dot from bitmap function, we can convert the bitmap into an input image format. And then we can pass this input image to our face detector and get the results. So just copy this line. And we need to paste this line inside our application code. So here inside our application code, we need to declare a new method and we are going to declare it here. So there you can see perform face detection. So we are going to declare a method and we are going to name it perform face detection. So public void and we are going to name it. So there you can see we have created this method and inside this method we are going to paste the line that we just copied. And now add the import for this input image. So here you can see we are using this input image dot from bitmap function and here we need to specify two things. Firstly, we need to specify the bitmap which we want to convert to this input image format. And secondly, if we want to rotate that bitmap, we can specify the degrees to which this image will be rotated. So for rotation, we will pass 0 because we already rotated our bitmap. And here we need to pass the image in a bitmap format which user have selected or captured. So as in our case, when the user will gonna choose or capture the images, these onActivity results method will be called. So this onActivity result and this onActivity result. And here inside this method, we are going to call this perform face detection method. And inside this method, we are going to pass this rotated bitmap. And we are passing this bitmap to this method so that inside this method, we can convert that bitmap into this input image format. And then we can pass this input image to our face detector and get the result. So let's specify the parameter of type bitmap here. So bitmap and let's name it input. And after that specify this input here. And that's it. So now the declaration of this method is completed. So this method will gonna take an input image in a bitmap format. And inside it we are gonna convert that bitmap into this input image format. After that we need to call this method above. So there you can see we are calling it here, but we need to pass our image in a bitmap format. So pass this rotated here because we are not rotating the bitmap while creating input image. So here we are calling this function. Similarly we need to call it here once user will gonna capture the image. So here I'm gonna call it again. So now when the user will gonna choose or capture the image, after displaying the image in this image view, we are calling this perform face detection method and passing the image. And the next step is passing this image to our face detector and getting the location of detected face. And for that purpose, we are going to add the code inside this perform face detection function. So open the documentation page, and here you will see this fourth section, process the image. So just click on it and you will see this code. So just copy this code and then we are going to take a look. So I'm gonna copy it and we are going to paste it inside our perform face detection method. So I'm gonna paste it here. And now you can see several errors. So let's add the import for this face. After that, add the import for this own failure listener, and similarly for this list. After that, for this own success listener as well. And finally, for this task. So now all the imports are added and we need to add a semicolon here. So now all the errors are gone. So there you can see we are using our detector, which is an object of type face detector, and calling its process method, and here we are passing the image in a input image format. So there you can see we are passing image here. After that we have added two listeners. Firstly this add on success listener, and this listener contain a method on success. So this on success will be called if the image is passed to our model and we got the result successfully. So here in that case we will get the list of faces, and if there is any error then this own failure method will be called, and here by using this exception object we can get the reason for error. So now here we are passing the image to our face detection model using this detector.process method, and then we can get the results using this list of faces. So hopefully you are getting the idea that when the user will gonna choose or capture the image, inside our own activity result method we are calling this perform face detection method and passing the image that user selected or captured. And inside this method we are converting the image into this input image format and passing it to our face detector. And inside it, if we got the result successfully, then this own success method will be called and we will get this list of faces. And for each face present in this list we can get the location along with some other information. So on the documentation page, when you are going to scroll down, you will see this for loop, and in this for loop we got the code to get the information about each face. So just copy this code and paste it inside this own success method. And now let's look at it. So there you can see inside this own success method we are using this for loop to iterate each face which is present in this list of faces. And firstly we are getting a rectangle object for the face. So this is actually the location of face in which we are interested in. So by using this face.getBoundingBox we can get the location. So add the import for this rect and the error will be gone. Similarly, you can get the position of different facial landmarks using this code. Like here we are getting the face landmark object for the left ear. Similarly, you can choose some different option, like you can get it for different landmarks, like you can get it for left eye, left ear, left cheek, and so on. Similarly, you can get the facial contours, the smiling probability, the eye open or close probability, and also the face tracking ID. But we are only interested in the location of face, so let's remove all the remaining code from here. So we are gonna keep the first line where we are getting the location for that particular face, because by using this location we are gonna crop that face and later we are gonna use it for face recognition. So now here once we are going to pass an image to this face detector and this own success will be called, we will get this list of faces. And if the image contain one face, then this list will gonna contain a single face object. And if we got an image where 10 persons are present, then this list will gonna contain 10 faces object. And here, by using this for loop, we are iterating this list of faces, and for each face we are getting its location. So now here, in order to verify the working of this application, let's simply print the length of this faces array inside the console and see whether our face detection model is detecting faces or not. So here I'm gonna add a code above this for loop, so log.d, so I'm gonna debug a message. So let's add a key like try face, and then the message will be len, which is for the length. And here we are going to show the length of our faces array. So faces dot size. So for example, if we are passing an image like this one which contain one face to our model, then the length of this faces array will be 1. And if we are passing an image which does not contain any face, then this length will be 0. So now we can simply run the application again, and by choosing an image from gallery or by capturing an image, we can verify that face detection feature is working or not. So I am going to install this application inside the emulator again, and then we are going to test it. So now the application is installed again. So let's go to our register page, and here let's select an image from gallery. So I'm gonna select this image which contains this person. And now this image is being displayed here. But as we have added the code inside this perform face detection method, and there we are passing the image to our face detector and showing the count of faces, so we should get the information in the console. So here click on this logcat and specify the key, this try face here. So I'm gonna copy it and paste this key here to check whether we are getting the length of faces or not. And there you can see we got this information printed len equal to 1, which means that this picture contains one face. Similarly, let's select an image which does not contain any face, like this one. And there you can see now we got this length equal to 0 because no face is present in this picture. So we got the length equal to 0. So our face detection feature is working correctly and we are getting the faces detected. And now the next step is drawing the rectangle around these detected faces. So firstly we are going to draw a rectangle around this face, and after that we are going to crop this face, and later we are gonna use this cropped face for recognition. So hopefully you are getting the point. So after performing face detection, our next goal is drawing a rectangle around this face. And to do that we need to make few changes in this application code. Welcome to this lecture. So now we have verified that the face detection feature of our application is working correctly and it is detecting faces. And the next step is drawing the rectangle around this face. And after that we are going to crop this face from this picture. So firstly we are going to draw a rectangle around this detected face. And we are gonna draw the rectangle using this information returned by the model. So there you can see for each face we are getting the location. So by using this rectangle object we can draw the rectangle around this face, and we can also crop that face from this picture. So firstly let's draw a rectangle. So in order to draw the rectangle we need to get the canvas for this input bitmap. As inside our image view, we are displaying the image in a bitmap format, and now on that image we also want to draw the rectangle around detected face. But in order to draw this rectangle, we need to get the canvas for this bitmap, and on the canvas we are gonna draw the rectangle. And once we are gonna draw the rectangle on the canvas, this rectangle will be visible around this face. So in order to do that, we are going to use this object, this input bitmap. So this is the image that user have selected or captured, and we got it as a parameter. So now we need to get the canvas for this bitmap. But we cannot get the canvas for a bitmap directly. Firstly, we need to make sure that the bitmap is mutable. Only then we can get the canvas for it. So by default, these bitmaps are immutable. So we cannot get the canvas for them and draw anything on it. So let's firstly create a mutable copy of this bitmap. So we are gonna use this input and we are gonna call its function copy, and by using this copy function we can create a mutable copy of this bitmap. But firstly, let's specify the configuration. So we are gonna choose this configuration to this ARGB 4x8. So I'm gonna select it, and second parameter is a boolean variable is mutable. So if you want to create a mutable copy, then you need to pass true here, and you will get a mutable copy of this bitmap. So let's assign it to a variable of type bitmap and name it mutable BMP. Similarly, you can name it as you like. So now when this line will be executed, we will get a mutable copy of our bitmap, and now we can get the canvas for it. So by using this canvas class, so let's declare a canvas variable and name it canvas. After that, in the constructor of this canvas class, we are going to pass this mutable bitmap. So pass this mutable BMP here. And that's it. So now by using this line, we are getting the canvas for this bitmap. And on this canvas, we can draw anything using the functions of this canvas class. As in our case, we want to draw the rectangle around the face. So here inside this for loop, we are going to use this canvas class. So let's call this canvas. So canvas dot draw rect function. So there you can see list of functions this canvas class provides. So you can draw circles, lines, rectangles, text, or any other thing on the canvas by using these methods. And whatever thing you are gonna draw, it will be visible on the image itself. So we are gonna call this draw rect function, and here we are going to pass this rectangle. So the first parameter is this rectangle, so I'm gonna pass this bounds here. And here the second parameter is a paint object. And by using the paint object, you can choose the properties of the rectangle that will be drawn. Like you can choose the color of the rectangle along with the type. So let's declare a paint object here. So I'm gonna declare it, so paint, and let's name it P1. After that, let's call its constructor, so new paint. And now by using this P1 object, we can choose the properties. Like we can simply select the color by using this P1.setColor. And here you can choose any color that you like. Like I'm gonna choose the red color for the rectangle. Similarly, you can choose the style of the rectangle. So there are different styles. Like if you just want a rectangle with a border or a rectangle filled with a color. So in our case, we are gonna choose the style, and the style we are gonna use is a rectangle with just a stroke or a border. We don't want a filled rectangle because in that case the face will not be visible. So choose the style to stroke. So you can see this style stroke here. After that, you can choose the width of this stroke as well. So by using this P1.setStrokeWidth method, you can choose the width. Like I'm gonna specify 5 here for now. So now after creating this paint object, let's specify it here. And that's it. So now this canvas.drawRect function will be called, and a rectangle will be drawn on this canvas at a position specified by this rectangle object. and the color of the rectangle will be red, and it will be a rectangle with just a border, and the border width will be 5. And this rectangle will be drawn on the canvas of this mutable bitmap. So after drawing this rectangle on the canvas, we need to display this mutable bitmap inside our image view, because on this mutable bitmap now the rectangle will be drawn and it will be visible. So after the for loop, let's call this image view dot set image bitmap function, and here we are going to display our mutable bitmap. And that's it. So now when you are going to run this application and you are gonna choose the same image or capture an image which contain a person face, you will see a rectangle will be drawn around the detected face. And the reason is, once user will gonna choose or capture the image, this perform face detection method will be called, and here we are converting the image into this input image format and passing it to our face detector. And once the face detector will gonna detect the face, we are drawing the rectangle on the canvas of this mutable bitmap, and then we are showing this bitmap inside our image view. So this bitmap will be visible inside our application screen, and we have drawn a rectangle on the canvas of this bitmap, so that rectangle will also be visible. So let's install the application again and test it. So now the application is installed again, so go to register and choose the image again. So I'm gonna choose this image. And there you can see we got this red rectangle drawn around this face. Similarly, you can choose an image which contain multiple faces. You will see the rectangle will be drawn around each detected face in the image. So now we have completed the first major portion, which is detecting the face present in the image and drawing the rectangle around it. And the next step is cropping this face from this image and using it for facial recognition. And we are gonna do that inside our upcoming lectures. But for now, we are performing face detection using the MLKit library. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we will quickly review the process that how we are performing this face detection and drawing the rectangle. So in order to perform this face detection, we are using the MLKit library, and inside our build.gradle file, we have added this dependency. So after adding the dependency inside our register activity, we firstly declared our face detector options, and by using them we can enable or disable certain features of this library. As we just want to detect the face, so I have disabled the landmark detection and classification mode. So after creating this face detector options, we have declared this face detector. Then inside our own create method, we are initializing this face detector by passing these options. And once the face detector is initialized, we have added this method perform face detection, and this method will gonna take an input image in a bitmap format, and we are calling this method once user will gonna choose or capture the image. So inside the zone activity results, after getting the image in a bitmap format, we are calling this method and passing the image. And inside this method, we are converting those images into our input image format and then passing it to our face detector. And once the face detector will gonna successfully detect the face, this onSuccess method will be called, and here we are getting the list of faces. So for each face which is present in the image, we will get a face object. So we are iterating this list of faces, and we are getting the location of that face using this getBoundingBox method. And after that, the next step was drawing the rectangle around the face. And to do that, firstly, we are converting this bitmap into a mutable format. So we are creating a mutable copy and getting the canvas for it. After that, on the canvas, we are drawing the rectangle and showing the mutable bitmap inside our image view. As on the canvas of this mutable bitmap, we are drawing the rectangles, and when we are displaying this mutable bitmap inside our image view, the rectangle is also visible along with the picture. So that is how we are performing face detection. And the next step is facial recognition. Welcome to this lecture. As previously we have performed face detection and we have drawn the rectangle around detected faces. And now what is our next step? And the next step is cropping these faces present in the images and passing them to our face recognition model. And that face recognition model will gonna return the embedding for that particular face. And later we are gonna use that embedding to compare it with different faces that user want to recognize. So now after detecting this face, the next step is cropping this face from this image and passing it to our face recognition model. So we are gonna initiate that process, and we are gonna start by creating a new method, and we are gonna name this method perform face recognition. So below this perform face detection, we are gonna create a new method and we are gonna name it perform face recognition. So public void, and let's create a method perform face recognition. And in this method we are gonna take two things as a parameter. Firstly, we are going to take a rectangle object, and this rectangle will be the location of face. And secondly, we are gonna get our image in a bitmap format. So here let's add a bitmap and name it input. So we are gonna get these two parameters here. So after getting this bitmap and the location of face present in this bitmap, we are gonna crop this bitmap. But where we are going to call this perform face recognition method? We are gonna call it inside this for loop. As for each face which is present in the image that user have selected or captured, this for loop will be called. So we want to crop each of the face. So here we are gonna call this method perform face recognition for each iteration of this loop. And here firstly we are gonna pass the location of that face. So we are gonna pass this bounds, and secondly we are gonna pass our image in a bitmap format. So we are gonna pass our input image, and that's it. So now inside this method we are gonna crop that particular face, and then we are gonna pass that face to our face recognition model. And if there are multiple faces present in the image, for each face this perform facial recognition will be called, and we are gonna crop that face. And later we are gonna pass it to our facial recognition model and get the embedding. And then we are going to show a dialog to the user that which label he want to assign to a particular face. So by using this approach, we can register multiple faces which are present in the single image, and you will get the idea in a moment. But for now, inside this method, we are gonna crop our picture. So as we got this input image and we are gonna crop it, so we are gonna use the bitmap class. So bitmap, and we are gonna call its method create bitmap. So this method will gonna take the source bitmap and it will gonna crop it to the points which we are gonna specify. So we are gonna specify the x and y point and the width and the height. So choose this method and specify the source to this input. After that we need to specify the x and y points, and we are gonna get the x and y points using this rectangle object. As we want to crop this face, so we need to specify the location that from here till here we want to crop this image. So firstly we are gonna get the x point using this bounds dot left point, and then we are going to get the top point of the rectangle, and that will be y. So get the top point, and after that we need to specify the width and the height. So by specifying this left and top point, we are here. Now we need to specify the width, that till this width and till this height we want to crop this picture. So here in order to do that, again we are gonna use this bounds, and we are gonna get the width. So bound dot width, and after that bounds dot height. And that's it. So add a semicolon, and now assign this cropped bitmap to a new bitmap variable, and we are gonna name it cropped face. And that's it. So now when this line will be executed, our input image will be cropped based upon the information returned by the model. So we will get the picture of face stored inside this variable. But here we need to add few if conditions to ensure that we will not go beyond the bounds of our input bitmap. And to do that, we need to firstly add an if block, and here we are going to check the top left and right bottom points of the rectangle, that the top and left points are not less than 0 and the right and bottom points are not greater than the width and the height of the face. So firstly for the top point, so using this bounds dot top, we are gonna get it, and we are gonna check if this is less than 0. So in that case we are gonna set it to 0, because otherwise when we are going to crop it, we are gonna get the index out of bound exception. So set the top point, so top equal to 0. So if it is less than 0, which can be the case if a face is partially present in this picture, so in that case we are setting it to 0. And after that we need to repeat the same for the left point. So if the left point is less than 0, we are again going to set it to 0. And after that for the right and bottom point, we are again going to add the checks. So if the right point is greater than the width of our input bitmap, so if it is greater than the input dot width, so in that case we are going to set the right point to the width of our bitmap. So input dot get width, so paste it here and subtract 1 from here. So if a face is partially present from here, then the right point will be greater than the width of our input bitmap. So here we will get index out of bound exception, so we need to add this check. And we need to repeat the check for the bottom point. So if the bottom point is greater than the height of our input bitmap, so in that case we are going to set this bottom point to the height of our bitmap. So get height, and that's it. So now we have added these checks to ensure that we are cropping only the portion of face which is visible in the picture. So now we will not get any index out of bound exception. So when this perform face recognition method will be called, here we are cropping the face, and we can ensure that we are getting the cropped face directly by showing this cropped bitmap inside our image view. So here by using this image view dot set image bitmap method and passing this cropped face, we can verify the working of this application. And after setting this bitmap here, we need to comment this line, as after the execution of this for loop, we are showing this mutable bitmap inside this image view, but now we want to show the cropped face, so we are commenting this line so that after the execution of this for loop, this bitmap will not be displayed, and instead our cropped face will be displayed. So now let's install the application inside the simulator again quickly and see whether we are getting the cropped face here or not. So now the application is installed, so go to register and choose the image. So here I'm gonna choose the same image. And there you can see we are getting this cropped face displayed inside our image view. So our application is working correctly till this point, and we have cropped a face based upon the information returned by our face detection model. And now the next step is passing this cropped face to our face recognition model and getting the face embedding for that particular face. After that, we are going to show a dialog to the user where he can select the label for this particular face, and we are gonna store the label along with this particular face embedding so that later we can use it for recognizing different peoples that user want to recognize. And we are gonna do that inside our next lecture. So see you in the next lecture. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this course is just first few hours of my complete face recognition and detection in Android, the 2024 guide course. The complete course is about 5 hours long and it includes all source code which we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below and I am offering a discount to first 100 students. So enroll now before it's too late. Now let's continue to the next lecture.